Hey guys, in today's video, I want to show you my giant Indiana Jones MOC rebuilding the Well of Souls from Raiders of the Lost Ark, but here's the challenge. I built everything you see here using 4 copies of the actual set, so I dumped all the pieces out and then built my own thing here. Now, I do want to give a shout out to Retro Blasting, who has a really cool YouTube channel here, and he actually did this as well. Our models did turn out pretty different, but, you know, it is depicting the same thing, and he did a great job of this as well. And yeah, here's my take on it. So let's get closer and take a look at all the cool features. Now, I did mention that I used 4 copies of this set to build this, and LEGO actually provided these. So I want to say a big thank you to LEGO for making these available to me to be able to build this. And we actually have 2,400 pieces to work with, which makes it a lot of fun. And let's take a closer look at how it turned out. Now, when it came to building this MOC, I did want to keep a lot of charm from the original because I do think that the actual set we got is pretty incredible, especially for $40. As you can spin it around, you see that I did a lot of things to keep true, as well as like having the little mechanism here that will make the statue fall over. Then, of course, we've got the zombie hallway in the back, so there's a lot of detail that is mixed in here, and of course, we're going to take a closer look at all of it, but I did want to give you the 360 spin to start out. Now, thanks to using 4 copies of this set, we got a lot of these big base plates to work with, so I did have to use several of those to make the actual base of the set, but the extra ones actually allowed me to make this area up top to show that this is underground. And the cool thing is, I was able to use one of these pieces to kind of have the lid where the Well of Souls is, of course, trapped off, and Sala is up top waiting for them. And, you know, of course, I could add Belloc and some German soldiers as well, except they don't come in these sets, so I'm using only pieces from this set. But we can actually lift this up and take it off for an expanded reach inside so that you could actually get in and mess around and play. Now, as you can see, I actually designed a little ledge here, which would come off the wall technically, and this ledge is a support that will hold up the base plate, if you will, when you put it on. So you've got that ledge there, and then we've also got 2 ledges back here that allow you to slide this into place. You kind of need to do it at an angle, and then you just line it up. And then we'll come over here to press these bricks down just to secure it. And as you can see, I put a little pile of sand here, and this little 2x2 flat piece goes underneath it for stabilization. So that kind of holds it up, and we're using some LEGO physics to get around it, but I love the way it looks when it's all said and done. Another thing that's worth pointing out is that we get a lot of slanted pieces. So I built some like sand piles in the back because it does help give us some context for, again, the main component of this MOC being underground, but also it just kind of brings along that deserty vibe that we see in Raiders of the Lost Ark. When I started building the main floor, I actually wanted to make the floor kind of look like a Sphinx head or like one of the Anubis dogs here, so I'm happy with that little Easter egg, because these sets are always filled with them, and I'm glad I got to put my own in this time. Now that brings us to the main build, so let's talk about some of the benefits of having 4 of this LEGO set to use. Well, by having 4 of the LEGO set, we get tons of snakes, so I littered those all throughout the bottom, but of course we're using some flame pieces to fend off the snakes, so we do have a little bit of area for Indy and Marion to move around here, so I like that a lot. Now, when we watch the movie, we know that there are actually 4 of the statues here that kind of go up to the ceiling, and so the benefit, again, of having 4 of this set, it allowed us to build all 4 of them. Technically, you could build 8, but we don't need 8, so I just built the same thing 4 times, except this one in the corner actually can fall down. Now, I did have to switch it from the original set, because in the original set, it actually falls on the right side, but according to the movie, when we watch it, it actually needs to fall to the left side. So, I actually built that play mechanism in there as well. You can see that there's a little hole back here, and you can lift it up and move it just like the movie that will knock the door down. Speaking of the statues, I used these pieces to stabilize them so that they actually somewhat stay in place. It is a little bit flimsy, but that way they're all facing the exact direction we see them in the movie, because if we remove these, you can see that they actually twist around a bit, so just putting a little bit of stabilization in there helps us keep them in place. Of course, just like the movie, we've got the Ark of the Covenant on display, and I used a lot of the hieroglyph sticker pieces to keep that built up as well. As we turn it on its side, you can see that there are different hieroglyphs in different areas, and I used a lot of the slanted pieces in the back just to give us some extra detail. Speaking of stickers, you can see that I used the tan hieroglyph stickers all around, kind of in random places, just so that we add a little bit of liveliness to the walls. Now, once the big wall has been knocked out, you can see that we've actually got the hallway with the mummies in it. I will admit, it is a little bit difficult to see on video, but I wanted it to feel claustrophobic, just like the movie, so you can see the mummy's hands are reaching out there, and you can see that there are some studs where Indy and Marion could stand as they come out to the other end. And speaking of the other end, I have all of these blocks here where you can see that there are holes in the wall, just like the movie where they could see some air ventilation coming through. Unfortunately, I couldn't really think of a way with the pieces that remained by the time I got to this back part to have the wall be able to be knocked out or to be able to push some bricks out, but I suppose you could make that happen. And finally, we have one last play feature, and that is from the original, this little piece here that can make the snakes fall through. The only downside is I used all the snakes on the floor, so I don't actually have any snakes to push through here, but it's still pretty cool when it's all said and done that, you know, we do have enough pieces to actually keep the play feature there and intact. Now, of course, this video has been very positive because I'm proud of what I built, but I would like to talk about some of the shortcomings that come along with this set. So, you know, of course, if we had maybe a 5th or 6th copy, we could have covered the entire top part here, but that's kind of debatable if that's a shortcoming or not, because having this open area allows light to get in, so the back part does seem shadowy when the roof is on, but I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think about that. Of course, another shortcoming is that I used all the snakes on the floor, so we can't really use them in the little play feature back here. And I did have an area up here where you could put excess snakes if you had more, so it is a bummer that we sort of ran out of snakes as well. I guess the only other thing that I would really say is a shortcoming is the fact that going by the challenge of not using any pieces that don't come in 4 copies of this set, we don't have Belloc or any German soldiers, or honestly even like shovels or anything up here. That would have been nice, and even just going to expand this to adding a 5th or 6th set, we would have gotten a lot more slanted pieces that I could have built up the background a little bit more, but those are just some of my overall shortcomings that I wish I could have built up on, but I'm kind of okay that it played out the way it did. It's just something worth pointing out that it could have been that much better if only. But I love doing challenges like this because, again, like, doing things like this, like having this slanted part open, that just feels so Lego to me, and I don't know, I just love doing challenges like this and having a limit to my creativity by only having the pieces available to use, but also kind of going anywhere with it and adding features that aren't in the actual set. So let's go ahead and round the bases for home and close this video out. Alright guys, this is probably the biggest MOC I've ever built, to be honest, and I'm really proud of the way it turned out, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. Drop a comment down below, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.